I secretly booked Emily's flight and witnessed her passionately kissing a man in the first-class bathroom. After landing, I texted her, "It's my birthday today. Can you come home to be with me?" Through the glass window. She replied impatiently, "Can't make it. Birthdays come every year. We'll celebrate next year." Stop being so dramatic. Grown man. Clutching my phone, I followed them all the way to the hotel. Standing beneath the brightly lit building, I made a call. "I'd like to report illicit activities at Century Hotel. It's my birthday, but my wife's checking in with another man." Sitting alone at the dining table, I watched twin candles burn down to stubs as my steak turned cold. The phone ring snapped me back to reality. Emily was being escorted into the police car, with the station notifying me to come sign for her release. At the police station, Emily still wore her flight attendant uniform. Now with torn stockings and red marks on her neck, she tried to cover. "Just sign the papers already. Let's go home before this gets more embarrassing," she hissed. I sneered. "Since when do you care about embarrassment? Why were you checking into a hotel with that man?" My raised voice drew curious glances. Noticing the attention, Emily hurled her purse at me. "Bullshit. Robert sprained his ankle. I was just assisting a platinum, tier frequent flyer." "Oh, really? Since when does your airline service include bed checks? You're so petty. Only dirty-minded people see filth everywhere." As we argued, Robert emerged surrounded by assistants. The middle-aged man with slicked back hair wore an overly formal suit, his voice oozing false concern. Patting Emily's hand before leaving, he purred, "I'll make sure to submit that commendation letter. Your service was exceptional." Every fiber of my being wanted to punch that smarmy face, but his bodyguard shoved me back with a warning finger. The officers cautioned me against causing trouble. My bleeding knuckles from punching the wall only made Emily turn away in disgust. Outside, the wind knocked over my electric bike, watching a Maybach disappear down the road. Emily tightened her coat and kicked my freshly upright vehicle. "Look at what real men drive," she spat. Back home, Emily headed straight for the shower. I grabbed her wrist. "I bought your flight today. Guess what I saw?" She shook free. "What?" I threw down photos of her cozying up to Robert in first class. "You stalked me?" "God, David, you're such a creep." I froze. Creep? When Margaret was neglected at the nursing home, I changed adult diapers and spoon-fed her like my own parent. Emily used to praise my kindness through tears, saying she married me because of my good heart during her darkest days. Now she pointed at my face, screaming, "You think your pathetic salary actually deserves me? Let's be clear. I only married you because Mom thought you were decent. Consider this charity." My hands trembled. "I may not be rich, but haven't I treated you well these 2 years?" Emily dragged a chair, drumming the table impatiently. "Wake up, David. You really thought you could afford someone like me?" Her eyes glittered with contempt. "Mom made me settle for you. Consider this my repaid debt." "Yes, I'm just a nursing home caregiver. I don't deserve my high-class flight attendant wife." "Emily, but what about the sincerity I've given? Can it just be trampled on?" At that moment, Emily's phone rang, showing Mr. Johnson. I wanted to snatch it. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell that man to stop harassing my wife. But Emily didn't give me that chance. Her honeyed, coquettish voice made me face reality instantly. After hanging up, she said, "Let's divorce. You've slept with me for free for 2 years. Consider it repayment for my mother's debts. You're not losing anything." When we walked out of the civil affairs office, I saw the familiar Maybach parked roadside. Emily hurried over. Through the half-open window, I watched her and Robert devour each other's lips hungrily. My heart turned to ice. As I mounted my electric scooter, my supervisor called, "David, Mr. Edward in room 86 insists only you can wheel him out for sunshine. Nobody else can calm him." Edward had arrived a month ago, terminal cancer. Children abroad. Aloof and stubborn. His chemotherapy made him vomit constantly. Once he retched sour fluid all over me. Later, he hunched over crying. You're the only caregiver who checked on me first instead of fleeing from the stench. You're truly kind. David. Rushing back, I found Edward throwing bedding across his room. Where were you this morning? He demanded. I whispered, finalizing my divorce. He silently patted my shoulder. After I'm gone, blessings will find you. You'll have your pick of good girls. I thought he was rambling. A week later, Emily's social media showed Maldives beaches, luxury brands, Michelin-starred meals she'd never experienced with me. One photo revealed Robert's face. Research showed he's VP of Johnson Conglomerate with an adult daughter. I sent Emily the evidence, warning about his marriage. She mocked, pathetic David. Stop clinging. He'll divorce when I bear his son. Before I could respond, she blocked me. The emergency alarm shrieked. Edward's room. I found him gasping. Your kindness moved me. David. A suited man handed me documents stamped inheritance transfer. Video call connected to Edward's son. We appreciate your care in Dad's final days. You'll receive $300 million. Notarization starts tomorrow. I was about to decline, saying it was just my job and I didn't deserve such generosity. Edward struggled to grasp my hand through his oxygen mask, mustering all his strength to whisper, kindness should be rewarded. Tears blurred my vision as I nodded repeatedly, murmuring countless thank yous. After Edward's funeral, my bank account gained several zeros. I stood at the counter verifying the balance multiple times before accepting the truth. I'd become wealthy, remembering the wisdom of not flaunting riches. I kept my nursing home job. When the lawyer called about attending a charity gala in another city that evening, I hesitated. Mr. Harrison made this commitment before passing. The attorney insisted. As his heir, you must fulfill his wishes. I packed hastily and headed to the airport. Everything felt different with first-class tickets and gold membership. At the boarding gate, I immediately spotted Emily's familiar silhouette. The flight attendant maintained her professional smile until our eyes met, her expression shifting to shock, then undisguised contempt. David, you've really stooped low chasing me on a flights now. She sneered before I could speak. Her manicured hand cut through the air. Just sit down already. Don't embarrass yourself in front of actual VIPs. She tried steering me toward economy class, pausing when I stopped at 1A. You can't possibly think. Her laugh turned heads. What money could you possibly have? I know every cent you own. You pathetic bum. Memories flooded back, proposing mid-flight only to watch her drop the ring, forcing me to crawl under seats with a flashlight while she mocked me. My fists clenched as fury surged. Unworthy of first class? I challenged, meeting her glare. Emily's derisive snort echoed through the cabin. You? Buying first class? Don't make me laugh. Ignoring her, I stowed my bag. She summoned security and the chief attendant, accusing me of disorderly conduct. Calmly, I handed over my ticket. The attendant's bow deepened as she read it. This can't be. Emily shrieked. How does trash like you afford this? Smiling coldly, I flashed my gold card. Your behavior warrants formal complaint. Her complexion paled at the words. Complaints from elite members meant suspensions or termination. Tears welled in her eyes as she crouched beside my seat. The picture of manufactured distress. I unlocked my phone, playing our earlier exchange. Her professional mask finally cracked completely. Mr. Anderson, I apologize for my inappropriate attitude earlier. I crossed my legs and shook my head. Not good enough. You called me a pauper just now. Emily's eyes reddened further at the corners, seeing the situation deteriorating. The flight supervisor crouched down to apologize and offered me a 5-star hotel vacation voucher as compensation. Ridiculous. With 300 million in my account, did I need some coupon? I could buy an entire hotel outright if I wanted. No, I insisted on filing the complaint. Emily could only repeat apologies to placate me. How satisfying to see her like this. When had this haughty woman ever lowered her head before? She'd always looked down on me. That perpetual condescension. During our marriage years, she'd treated me as nothing more than a competent house husband. Only when the boarding announcement sounded did she dare rise to perform the safety demonstration. After landing, I encountered Emily again in the parking lot, her face buried in Robert's chest as she wept. Spotting me, she stormed over. "Where'd you scam that first-class ticket? Think flashing it makes you impressive? I'll have you know I don't need this job to outshine you." I applauded her dramatic speech. "That attitude's exactly why you deserve to get fired." Noticing the invitation in Robert's hand, I realized they were fellow guests. This time, I'd reclaim my dignity. Since they loved humiliating people with wealth, they'd choke on their own medicine. The charity event seated attendees by net worth. At the entrance, Emily clung to Robert's arm in lavish attire. The Johnsons had some standing, but my lawyer's investigation revealed their family business was crumbling under debt. This charity gala was clearly their desperate bid for partnerships. "David," Emily sneered, "take out loans for first-class tickets and now work as a waiter to pay it off?" I glanced at my Italian bespoke suit, subtle double, embroidered collar, diamond, studded cufflinks. Of course, her untrained eye missed the details. Robert flashed his invitation with a smirk. I produced mine. The attendant immediately straightened, escorting me past them. Emily's shrill protest followed. "Since when do waiters get dress code exemptions? Must have used connections." Her jaw dropped when the usher led me to the front row. She shoved past him. "You? What gives you the right?" I flicked imaginary dust from my ear. "Your seat's in the back with Robert. This area's beyond your league." The attendant intervened. "Mr. Anderson is our VIP guest with verified assets. Madam, please return to your section." Realization dawned on Emily. Though confused about my sudden wealth, she pivoted instantly, fluttering her lashes. She leaned closer with perfumed hair. "Lottery winner. David?" I enunciated through gritted teeth. "None of your business." Security escorted the screaming woman away as I denied knowing her. My front row neighbors placard read Olivia. Throughout the auction, I focused on securing that emerald necklace, the very piece Edward had intended for his late wife decades ago. This was his only wish. When the emerald necklace came up for auction, Olivia suddenly appeared beside me, dressed in sleek motorcycle gear that radiated cool confidence. After sitting down, she kept murmuring my name and remarked, "The reality surpasses all rumors." As the bidding soared to $3 million, neither Olivia nor I would back down. She leaned over and asked why I persisted. "I'm fulfilling a promise," I replied. Upon hearing this, she pensively lowered her paddle. Before leaving, she cryptically said, "We'll meet again." After the auction, I encountered Emily at the entrance. She deliberately brushed against me, fingers tracing her bare neck. "David, I adore that necklace you won. Put it on me now," she cooed, batting her lashes. "I'll agree to remarry you." My response was ice. "Excuse me. You're in my way." Emily grabbed my sleeve, shrieking, "What's your problem? Is this for another woman? We just divorced. You've already moved on. You shameless." "Me? Shameless?" I laughed bitterly, shaking off her grip and wiping my arm with disinfectant wipes. "Weren't you the cheater? 2 years of free accommodation seems more than fair." Her rage escalated into desperate pleading. At the curb, her jaw dropped when I entered a Bugatti. 10 minutes later, my phone pinged with a friend request, Emily Thompson. On the return flight, Emily materialized in first class, all smiles as she offered me slippers. I recoiled when she grasped my ankle. I was blind before. She whispered tearfully, "Remember how you'd massage my feet after long flights? You promised Mom you'd always care for me." The mention of Margaret's deathbed request tugged at me. I recalled how Margaret had fed stray cats at the nursing home, while Emily always complained they were disease-ridden. Now Emily played the victim. Growing up poor after losing Dad, I just feared poverty. It wasn't real betrayal. Her excuses sickened me. All I could see were memories of her cruelty, even discovering she'd cheated the night of Margaret's funeral. I'd found her straddling Robert in his car, sobbing about her loss, until their moans drowned the tears. Next morning, she'd casually tossed my homemade breakfast while flaunting 5-star hotel vouchers. Reward points. She'd scoffed. At least care about my health if you can't earn properly. Emily's cold fingers snapped me back to the present, mistaking my silence for forgiveness. She slipped me a note with bedroom eyes. "Tonight. Big surprise awaits." I kept the appointment. Rose-scented air greeted me as I entered. There stood Emily in lace lingerie, purring. "Let's start over." "David." I stepped back, arm raised like a shield. "Starting over? Then what about Robert? Didn't you say you wanted to bear his son?" Emily's eyes reddened as she slumped on the sofa with wounded dignity. "Don't mention that old man. He's past his prime, physically inadequate in every way." I was completely deceived. That shameless fossil. Hearing her venomous words, I suppressed a cold laugh. After Emily finished her tirade, I straightened my collar and called casually toward the door. "Robert, I believe you've heard everything." The door swung open to reveal Robert's livid face. He stormed in and slapped Emily hard across the cheek. "You ungrateful wretch. Living off my wealth while stabbing me in the back." Emily stared blankly until realization dawned. She lunged at me screaming, "You scheming bastard. If this is how you play, I'll sue for half your hidden marital assets." "File away," I retorted coldly. "I'm not afraid." As I left, Emily's panicked cooing followed me. "Robert, darling, you know I didn't mean any of that. I've always loved you." A week later, court papers arrived. When I presented notarized inheritance documents and timelines, Emily's face paled. "This can't be real. Because of some absurd kindness clause? You expect me to believe that senile old fool. Your disbelief only proves how steeped in lies your world is." I scoffed. We never spoke again. Later at the nursing home, I encountered Olivia, the psychological counselor I'd met at a charity event. Her cropped hair gleamed in sunlight as she comforted a cancer patient. The director mentioned she was an internationally renowned psychologist moonlighting here, puzzling given her designer handbag collection. My suspicions about her motives shifted when I witnessed her calmly handling an incident where a dementia patient drew turtle doodles on her 7-figure Birkin. Without fuss, she guided the elderly woman to wash up, even changing soiled clothes herself. "It's nothing." She smiled at my offer to help, genuine compassion in her eyes. Later, as we bonded over shared grief about neglected grandparents, Olivia tearfully confessed, "Seeing her reminds me of my grandfather I never properly cared for." We became close friends. That changed during a dinner invitation. At the hotel lobby, we encountered Emily, visibly pregnant and clinging to Robert's arm. "Well, if it isn't my ex who got rich wiping asses and forging wills," she sneered. Noticing Olivia, she added viciously, "Watch out, sweetheart. Poverty mentality sticks even to lottery winners." I glared at my former wife, fists clenched. "You've crossed every line." Robert Johnson also promptly stopped Emily, telling her to be careful and not harm the fetus. Emily now looked even more smug. She straightened her barely visible belly and declared, "I'll soon become Mrs. Johnson. The son I'm carrying here is the Johnson heir." Olivia rolled her eyes. "What's that got to do with me? Unless you're implying David's the father?" I noticed Robert kept checking his watch anxiously throughout this exchange, as if expecting someone. 10 minutes later, when Olivia and I pushed open the private dining room door, we found Robert and Emily already seated inside. You followed us. I froze, immediately grabbing Olivia's arm to leave. She calmly shook me off and took a seat. Weren't you here to sign contracts? I came to inform you the deal's canceled. Robert took a drag from his cigar, brows furrowed. You think you can cancel our agreements? Who the hell do you think you are? It turned out the Johnson family business had connected with an overseas investment firm promising tens of millions in financing. Today's meeting with their international representative would determine whether the Johnson empire survived. Olivia leaned back casually, arms crossed. Test me if you don't believe it. Emily giggled derisively. I know your type, some part-time nursing home doctor. Canceling contracts? Is this your pathetic revenge for David? Can't stand seeing us succeed. You broke nobody. I stood frozen, aware Olivia came from money but uncertain she could actually represent the overseas firm. Robert slammed his hand on the table. Get out. Don't ruin my goddamn deal. Out. Emily echoed the command. As Robert's secretary started physically pushing us toward the exit, I pinned the man against the wall when he nearly made Olivia stumble. We'll leave on our own. Don't touch her. Olivia smiled coldly by the doorway, pulling out her phone. Seconds later, Robert's cell rang. She spoke deliberately into her receiver. Deals canceled. The color drained from Robert's face as he scrambled over, palms rubbing nervously. MS. Parker. I had no idea it was you. She shoved past him to claim the head seat, Robert's original position, idly toying with his engraved lighter. I initially considered negotiating out of respect for your daughter. Clearly that was unnecessary. Robert fawned desperately. This is all a misunderstanding. He thrust a menu toward her, which she slapped away. I said canceled. In panic, Robert yanked Emily forward despite her pregnancy. This idiot misspoke. Apologized to MS. Parker. Trembling, Emily choked out tearful apologies. Not enough. Olivia stated. David's my friend. Insult him. You insult me. Robert hastily added. Right. Apologize to David too. After Emily reluctantly muttered apologies to David, Olivia finally stood. Oh, and your daughter's been my friend overseas. I've updated her on everything here. Enjoy your family reunion later. Robert collapsed into his seat, pale. Outside, I asked Olivia what just happened. My father happens to own an international investment firm they needed. I nodded, never fully understanding these corporate dynasties. As we left, I noticed a furious woman storming toward the private dining room. Olivia Parker slowly uttered, She's in for it. Sure enough, the next day, Emily had a miscarriage. Rumor had it that Robert's daughter had berated her, causing her to lose her footing and fall down the stairs. Emily lost the baby, and doctors diagnosed uterine damage that might make future pregnancies difficult. When Robert learned this, he immediately kicked her out. After all, her sole purpose had been bearing a son. Now that she couldn't fulfill that, she'd become disposable. Soon came the anniversary of Margaret's death. As usual, I went to visit her grave. By coincidence, I encountered Emily wearing a mask. She tried to slip away when she saw me, but a pained cry echoed from the corner. David! I twisted my ankle. Her mask fell off, revealing a haggard face with dark circles and swollen features, a far cry from her usual polished appearance. When I crouched to help, she waved me off. It's nothing. I can manage. But after 2 stumbling steps, she nearly collapsed again. Let me take you to the hospital. At these words, tears began streaming down Emily's face. I'm sorry, David. So sorry for everything I did. Can you ever forgive me? This isn't the time. I said, let's get you checked first. She shook her head dejectedly. Just take me home. A warm compress will fix it. Her apartment revealed the full extent of her downfall. Instant noodle containers littered the table. Beer bottles cluttered the floor. And her termination letter served as makeshift furniture padding. "Make yourself comfortable," she mumbled, applying the compress. When I turned to leave, she grabbed my wrist, then immediately recoiled. "Please stay. I just don't want to be alone." Our conversation lasted until nightfall. Emily spoke of the past with genuine remorse. And since we should focus on moving forward, I eventually offered forgiveness. Seizing the moment, she broached reconciliation. I firmly declined but added, "You'll find someone better." A single tear slid down her cheek as she ducked her head, momentary resentment flashing across her face. The city glowed pink under neon lights as I gazed through her window. Emily approached with a glass of juice. "Have some." I drank it without suspicion. Within 5 minutes, the room began spinning violently. Emily materialized before me, eyes glittering with malice. David, this is all your fault." I awoke tied to a dining chair. Emily stood clutching a lighter near drawn curtains. "You're insane," I shouted hoarsely, struggling against the ropes. Her head snapped toward me. "Awake already? Should have used the whole bottle." The lighter trembled in her grip. "Don't do this. Murder means life in prison. You still have a future." "Future?" Her laughter turned shrill. "You destroyed that. If you'd just taken me back when you inherited the money, I wouldn't have needed to bear that old bastard Robert's child. You wasted my youth when poor, then abandoned me when rich. I choose you now," I blurted. Her dilated pupils sharpened with sudden hope. "Really? You'll remarry me?" I nodded without a moment's hesitation, terrified she might change her mind and burn me alive. Slowly coaxing her, I said, "Emily, my hands hurt too much. Untie me first, and we'll talk properly. We'll remarry tomorrow. But we need to find the household register first." Emily muttered suspiciously. "Household register, remarriage." As she turned to rummage through the living room drawers, I seized the chance to clamp the nearby pocket knife between my feet, lift it, and grip it with my teeth. Just as I nearly succeeded, my phone rang shrilly in the quiet room. Like a madwoman, Emily charged over, snatched the phone, and smashed it against the floor upon seeing the caller ID. "Olivia, why is she calling you? Are you sleeping together? Tell me." No, we're nothing," I protested desperately. Her eyes fell on the knife. A sinister chuckle escaped her lips. "I should have never trusted you, David." Without looking back, she lit the curtains. Flames leaped upward, rapidly consuming the fabric as she locked the door behind her. "Come back. Emily, are you out of your mind?" I screamed hoarsely. I woke coughing violently in a hospital bed, throat scorched by smoke. Olivia handed me water. "You're too naive. How could you believe that venomous woman would ever repent or change?" Memories flooded back, the burning curtains igniting the upholstered sofa. Perhaps neighbors spotted the blazing windows and called firefighters. They found me unconscious when breaking in. "Where's Emily now?" Olivia calmly replied. "Arrested at the airport. She's in detention." She paused. How ironic that husband and wife become plaintiff and defendant. Before the trial, I visited the detention center. The once glamorous flight attendant now sat shackled and haggard. "When did you plan to kill me?" Emily gnawed her bleeding nails, crimson staining her lips as she pressed against the glass. "From the day I miscarried. You'll all pay. But I didn't cause that. If you hadn't cheated, if you'd cared about our family." At the word family, her fury dissolved. "Baby," she whispered, tears streaking her cheeks. 3 months later, Robert's company declared bankruptcy. The disgraced CEO himself imprisoned for bribery. I continued working as nursing home orderly, delivering documents to Olivia's office. My hand accidentally brushed her mouse. The illuminated desktop wallpaper froze me, a family portrait. Her voice came behind me. What's wrong? Didn't you know Grandpa Edward was my biological grandfather? So you deliberately sat beside me at the charity event? Of course. When Dad said Grandpa left part of his estate to a stranger, I came to investigate. She smiled shyly at my questioning look. You passed inspection. Kind-hearted. Just like Grandpa said. In countless sleepless nights since, Emily never haunts my dreams. Yet one phrase echoes endlessly. The kind-hearted will be blessed.